So when it comes to America, what I'm going to tell my black children, I'm going to sit them down, I'm going to look them directly in their eyes, and I'm going to tell them, we were slaves! For 400 plus years we were slaves! They hate us! Race is a topic that's likely going to come up as a parent whether you like it or not. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Please show support. The channel is growing steadily. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers. That's going to be a big milestone for me. Thank you so much for all the support. All right, let's get into it. Whether something happens at your school and a black kid's getting bullied and now they have to have a conference about why you shouldn't bully black kids. Police shooting and now all of a sudden the media is publicizing it and shoving it down your throat, making it seem like you need to be afraid of the police and the government and white people if you're black. It's always lurking around the corner. And my prediction is it's not just going to be black people in the future. Hold me to that. But today I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to handle this conversation in my household. Now I know with my approach I'm not going to please everyone, so instead of trying to do that, I'm just going to stand on business on what I say. I'm not going to try to please you. I know there's going to be some people in the comment section that are calling me a sellout. I know there's going to be some people in the comments. I don't care. So when it comes to America, what I'm going to tell my black children, I'm going to sit them down, I'm going to look them directly in their eyes, and I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to say, we were slaves! For 400 plus years we were slaves! They hate us! Leave! Leave while you can! Go! I send you back to Africa! Just kidding. No, but what I'm going to tell my kids about America is that America is your home. America is your home. I know there are a lot of black people that will disagree with me. And hey, if I would have said this to myself 4 years ago, I would have said, you're a sellout. I would have said, you're not really for black people. But here's what I've realized looking into our history and why America is our home. We helped build this country. We have been here since this country started. And so for us to sit here and act like America is not our home when we don't have anywhere else to go is insane. I get it. America has done black people wrong. America has not offered black people some of the same opportunities that other groups of people have gotten throughout its history. When I'm talking to my child about America, when I'm talking to them about America, I am going to tell them, America has done black people wrong. And this is the most prosperous country that has ever existed, and you are blessed to be in it. We can understand our history, we can talk about context, and we can fight for a better future. But make no mistake, we are in the most prosperous country that has ever existed, and if you waste your time trying to chase context and get white people to understand your struggle, you will never get ahead. This is what I'm going to tell my black children. I don't know what you're going to tell your black children. My black children focusing on success. A lot of people that I see in the media, a lot of other personalities and things like that will get us to try to hate America. Get us to try to teach our children to hate America. Get us to try to teach our children that America has never done anything good for black people. Now, there is some truth in some of that. Moving forward, we don't need to teach our children that America is against you. Why? Because as long as America is against you in the psyche of our children, we will never embrace all of the opportunities. Am I saying racism doesn't exist? No, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. But what I'm saying is two things can be true at once. Racism can exist and you can still be a part of the richest group of black people that have ever lived. American black people are the richest group of black people that have ever existed. So for us to sit here and try to teach our children that the only thing that you have to look forward to in America is failure, the only thing you have to look forward to in America is being discriminated against and racism, is false. It is not true. Racism can exist, and black people in America can be in a privileged position to go out and do better for themselves. We live in the freest country that has ever existed, the most prosperous country that has ever existed. That is the message that I'm sending to my children. Are there companies out there that will discriminate against you? Is the government always for black people? Does the government do things that can hinder black people? Yes, all of those things are true. I admit it. I kind of look at racism like a zoo. When you go to a zoo, there are dangerous animals in there. Let's call those dangerous animals racism, right? There are dangerous animals in there. And you would never go 5-10 feet away from a lion in the wild. You would never do that. That's crazy. That's dangerous. Racism is dangerous. It can negatively impact you. You can be killed. It's dangerous. But why do people go to the zoo? They go to the zoo because there's a barrier in between the animals and themselves. And I see that barrier between black people and racism as the decisions you make, the career you choose to go into, the way that you present yourself, your mindset, how you choose to interact with the world. Right? There's this barrier between black people and racism right now in America that was not there before. When we were slaves, there was not that barrier. Racism was right there, neck and neck with us. But there's racism on one side, there's a barrier, and then there's us. And a lot of it comes down to your personal decisions. And so when I'm talking to my children about racism, when I'm talking to them about America, I'm going to give them the full picture. Yes, we were treated wrong. However, you are still in the best position possible. You are in a better position than 99.999% of people who have ever existed, period. Not even people, animals, species on this planet. You are in a better position in America as a black person than almost any other group of humans or species that has ever lived. Black people dying because they're eating too much in America. But the police, what are you going to tell them about police shootings? I'm going to tell them that based on the statistics, you are likely not to be shot by the police and killed by them. I'm going to tell them based on the statistics that the media overhypes things so that they can make money off of ongoing stories and latch onto a social narrative that will bring them traffic and bring them money and bring them attention. I'm going to tell them to focus on your studies, focus on what brings you happiness and what you're passionate about. Go all in on that, and don't ever take your foot off these niggas' necks when you going after that bag. I know that there are some black people that are going to say, you're giving white people a pass. You're selling out. You just want to impress white people. You just want to be part of the old boys club. Listen, you're wrong. Okay? You're wrong. Here's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on my children not fumbling the bag. That's what I'm focused on. And guess what? Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to sell out in order to be successful as a black person in America. Here are some things that you typically have to do to be successful as a black person in America. Don't commit a crime. Don't commit crimes. Okay? That seems pretty straightforward. Don't commit crimes. Work hard. Work hard. Yeah. Okay. Don't have a bunch of children out of wedlock. Yeah, you should probably just have children with one woman. If you don't have a bunch of children out of wedlock with different women, you're probably not going to be in a position to where a lot of your wealth is being stripped away through child support and a lot of your mental and physical energy being stripped away because you have to deal with multiple women who have multiple personalities, who have multiple desires and multiple needs, and some of them want to see you fail because you're no longer with them. But I know, and look, I have a master's degree in sociology. So I know all of the talking points, and I know the research of why black people are committing crimes. I understand that. When you get down to it, a lot of the issues that I see black people have with America are things that we can change with a decision. When I talk to my children about America and being a black person, I want my children to love America. Even if there's part of me that never could, I want my children to. And here's why. This is our home. This is something that we built. And if you make the right decisions, there's no other place in the world where you can succeed as much as you can in America. It took me a long time to really wrestle and grasp this. And I don't think I'll ever fully love America in the way that I'm saying I want my children to. I'm too deep. Like there are just some things where I know it may be hypocritical for me to say, but I'm not gonna change on that. I'm not gonna change on that. No, when I say I want them to love America, what I'm saying is if you buy into America, then you're more likely to be successful. This is why immigrants can come over here who don't speak the language and succeed more than us, is because they buy into the American dream and they buy into America. They're appreciative of the opportunity and they believe that through hard work they can succeed, and they put their head down and they go to work. That's how I want my children to be. I don't want my children to feel like America is an obstacle for them to overcome. I want my children to be understanding that yes, America has done black people wrong in the past, and in some ways does black people wrong to this day. But like I said, two things can exist at once. We can be done wrong, but also there can be this enormous amount of opportunity out there that's yours for the taking. You will not fumble that bag. You will not fumble the bag. When it comes to understanding race and racism and teaching your kid about racism and the history of black people in this country, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But here's what I realized upon self-reflecting. I am no more successful because I know about racism than I would have been if I didn't know about it. Like all of the studying I've done on racism, all of the research that I've looked into, all of those things has not made me a more successful person in my career. It has not made me a more successful person in life. And I know there's going to be some people that say, well, you should still look into it. Yes, you should look into it. I believe that if you're a black parent, that you have a responsibility to teach your children about the history of this country, about the history of black people in this country. I believe that's your responsibility. I don't believe it's the school's responsibility. I don't believe it's the government's responsibility. But I do think that when you have those conversations and you're teaching them the history, it has to come from a place of empowerment. It cannot come from a place of, or I'll say it should not come from a place of, well, you hate America, America's against you, white people are against you. It should be put into context so that they understand what is going on, and you are more likely to succeed here than any other place in the world, and you are amongst a privileged group of people that have access to the economy of one of the greatest country that has ever existed from an economic perspective. Yes, there are social issues. Yes, there are things that we still need to work on. Yes, there are times in life where people are going to look at you differently because you're black. Yes, there are going to be times in life where you can't quite put your finger on it, but you know that this person does not like you because you're black, or there's some opportunities that you may miss out on because you're black. Fine, okay. But the net of it, right, after we take all of that away, the net of it is you are still in the best position possible as a human being to win. Right now, we're fighting a psychological war. And if we raise our children with the same fears that we were raised upon, in 50 years, we're still going to be complaining about, oh, the Democrats, they want us to vote for them, and we voting 90% for them, and they ain't doing nothing for us. And the Republicans, they not offering us anything, and so I guess we can't progress as a people. When we teach our kids to put their heads down, work hard, and make great decisions, it's not going to matter who we vote for. It's going to matter where we live, what communities we're in, and what change we can affect in those communities. Because if you have hard workers, if you have people that are willing to tell their children no matter what struggle you are going to succeed, and if you have people that say, look, the government should be doing this, these other companies, they should be doing this, but at the end of the day, your success is your responsibility, those people are going to be able to influence the government much, much more. Now, I know this next statement may seem controversial to some, but I'm going to teach my children to not hate white people. I'm going to teach my children to love white people. The white people who exist today did not do all of the horrible things that were done to black people in the past. As much as I've looked into the history, as much as I want to say, oh, they should still be held accountable, it's not a fair statement to make. Now, there needs to be context with that. Yes, white people today have benefited from white privilege. Yes, white people today have benefited from the sins and the atrocities of their ancestors. Yes, black people are still catching hell in some areas. However, moving forward, it is obvious that black people need to be cooperative with white people in order to succeed. That doesn't mean sell out. That doesn't mean disassociate yourself from the black community. That doesn't mean forget your culture. That doesn't mean to be whitewashed. That doesn't mean to be this yes man, yes woman when it comes to white people. If you're ever going to have the confidence to sit across from a white man, a white woman, and feel like you are valued and you belong in the room, you have to stop hating them. You have to stop teaching your children to hate them. Hate and love live on a very thin line. You can only tell yourself you hate white people so much and that they're at the root of all of your problems so much before you have to take a look in the mirror at yourself. You have to take a look in the mirror at yourself and say, it wasn't white people that made me go to that party and then I got in a fight because I got too drunk and now I have a assault charge on my record. I'm going to tell my children, yes, we picked cotton in the past, but we live in a situation now where you can pick the name of an LLC and pick employees and pick businesses for the future. Yes, we were whipped and chained and shackled and brought across the ocean on slave ships. Now we can build our own legacies and we don't need the permission of white people. We don't. And this is what I see the biggest issue is right now, is that we're still looking for permission from white people to do what white people have no business trying to do for black people. We don't need white people to succeed. We don't need their approval. We don't need them. But when I say that, people get upset and they say, well, they're not doing this and they're discriminating against I stand on this. There is nothing right now in America that you cannot do because you are black. That's what I'm going to tell my children. There is nothing in America you cannot do because you are black. Nothing. And I stand on that. And I really believe it. That racism is not holding anyone back in modern times. It's just not. We live in the most prosperous country that has ever existed. The freest country that has ever existed. It has problems. I'm not a fan of those problems. I wish those problems didn't exist. If I could snap my fingers and make them go away, I would. But I'm practical and I'm a realist. Here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to and this is me talking to my kids. We're not going to fumble the bag trying to stick to some principles that the people who went through slavery wouldn't even stick to. They wouldn't even stick to it. Go read Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. Go read that. Read how this man came out of slavery and was building schools with his bare hands. Go read that and then try to tell me that you can't succeed in America today. Go read how ambitious and entrepreneurial and excited that black people were after slavery and how they got to work. Go read how they didn't even hate the white people that had enslaved them in the same way that we're trying to hate white people today who didn't even enslave us. Go read that. Go take measurement of those accounts. My kids will not fumble the bag over no racism. I'm not psychologically conditioning my children to believe that they are lesser than. I'm not psychologically conditioning my children to put obstacles in their way when those obstacles do not exist. Yes, racism exists. It cannot stop a modern black person from getting where they want to be. I don't care what anyone says. There is nothing in this country you cannot do because you are black. There is no level of success you cannot reach because you are black. There is nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams and your goals. And if you believe that racism is holding you back, I want you to ask yourself and let me know in the comments, What is it that you have not been able to do in your life because of racism? You got a bad grade on your exam? The teacher is white and they don't like you. That's why. You can't read? The teacher don't like you. Trouble at school? The teacher don't like you. It's because you're black. Is there some of that that's going on? Absolutely yes. That does not mean that if you go to school and you're acting right and that, if you're putting your head down and you're working hard, that's going to be the likely result. We have to stop living in the extremes. Racism exists, but it doesn't exist like over here where every single aspect of your life is controlled by it and you can't break out of it, and that everyone is against you and that you're a victim and that you need to be given opportunity instead of working hard for it. It doesn't mean that. And so when I have this conversation with my children, I'm going to let them know you are black. Our people have been mistreated in this country. And at the same time, you live in the greatest country that has ever existed in human history. Do with it what you will. The world is yours. You have the keys. You have the keys. So if you enjoyed this conversation, let me know in the comment section. Check out Father Flex gear. Information is in the description. Too many black men are dying too young because of health-related issues, and it starts now. It starts now, and guess what? The healthier you are, the healthier your kids are going to be, the healthier your family is going to be. So make sure you go check out fatherflex.com, selling gear for fathers that want to be healthy for their family. I'll see y'all in the next video.